Good afternoon, sports betting YouTube. Happy Tuesday. It's a glorious Tuesday indeed. Uh, Marks the first time all season that my pick to win the NBA championship and the Western Conference, these very Los Angeles Lakers, are now the favorites to win the West and are the second favorites to ultimately win the NBA championship. Uh, you know, I I bet these guys to win. The first series against the Grizzlies, and around the same time when they were 9-1 in the West and 24-1 overall to win the West and to win the NBA championship, respectively. And I shared that pick with anyone who really was willing to listen. I backed LeBron back in 2016 when no one believed, even when they were down 3-1. Everyone knows what happened there. And, I look at the betting landscape in the NBA heading into the postseason, and, I just thought there was more parity this year than ever before. And, I thought the Suns were not really, they shouldn't have been the favorites in the West, given the fact that Durant and that core only played 8 total games together coming in. And the Golden State Warriors, I was just never sold on. Ever since the moment that Draymond punched Jordan Poole in the face and no one came to his defense, I said to myself, there's absolutely no way that the Warriors are repeating as champions. And I didn't think they were going to win a single series given their road woes. To Steph Curry's credit, he had an absolutely historical game 7, where he gave that speech to rally the troops. The problem with that is you can only do that one time. He used that card, and now the Warriors, obviously down 3-1, are in tremendous trouble. And, as a result, the Lakers are now the favorites to win the West. I'm not making this video to come on and say, look how smart I am. Obviously, there's still a ton of basketball to be played. One injury to Anthony Davis could derail this entire train. But that being said, there's tremendous value right now on the bets that were made, and I'm not just some guy coming on to gloat about some reasonably good bet that I made a few weeks ago that has better odds. At the time of this recording, I do have a track record of winning future bets. I bet on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl at 7-1 towards the end of September when they were struggling, and we took UConn to win the championship as well. So made some good money so far this year on futures, and futures betting. I'm going to get into some videos about sort of my strategy for this, for the upcoming NFL season. But you need to have just good foresight to be able to see kind of what can happen. And the Lakers, since the All-Star break, were the best team record wise in the NBA. Fair enough, they played a pretty soft schedule, but the fact remains, they have the number one defense since that time. They have the best record in the league since that time. But the reason why I'm making this video is the ship has sailed as far as betting the Lakers, to win the West or even really win the championship. Maybe they lose to the Warriors tomorrow. I mean, they should. The line says that they do. I'm not convinced that they do. So, you know, I don't know if waiting to bet this is the best strategy because obviously, if they go on to win that game, they're going to win the series. They're going to have a ton of rest. Compared to the Suns and the Nuggets who are still battling it out, that series is going to go minimally 6 games at this point, with it being tied 2-all apiece. But where I think the value still exists is in doing an NBA Finals exacta. So FanDuel has this. I'm not sure if other books do. I've only ever seen it on FanDuel, but I'm also not even in the US right now, and I bet primarily offshore. So there might be other books out there that may even have better odds. The odds comparison tools that I use. I couldn't find, this market on there. But my point is, if you're going to bet this, I would suggest line shopping for the best number. But this is the best number that I've found. And the bet is the Lakers to beat the Philadelphia 76ers at 19 to 1. You know, I have a brother in law back in the US. Right now, I'm spending half the year in Mexico. And obviously, I don't have access to my account. So I just sort of give him some advice what to bet, right? And he accidentally, when I told him to bet the NBA finalist, Philadelphia 76ers versus Los Angeles Lakers. So I do have a quarter unit on that play. I actually wanted them to bet the exacta result, and that's what I suggest. I mean, the Sixers versus Lakers is still 10 to 1. Still good value there because that way, if the Lakers and Sixers both win their respective conferences, that bet cashes automatically. But the bet that I think, if you want to bet the Lakers to win it all, is to bet the Lakers to beat the Sixers. And, you know, the Sixers were my pick to win the East. Even since the beginning of the season, I have a ticket on them at 7.5 to 1. The reason for that was I just thought that Boston was a little bit overrated, and I thought Milwaukee was somewhat of a paper tiger, which ended up to be true. And Philadelphia, as much as I do despise this team, like there's really no one who I hate watching more than Joel Embiid, who just spends the entire game flopping on the floor, complaining. The dude is the most aggravating player in the league for me to watch. James Harden isn't far behind, extremely inconsistent, gets pouty when things aren't going his way. Doc Rivers, just has a track record of nothing but failure for the most part, outside of that one championship that he was gifted, in Boston. So very, very difficult team to put your money on and to root for. But that being said, I think they're the best team in the West. And they came into the series a big underdog due to Joel Embiid's questionable injury status. He missed game one, and they won anyway. And anyone who's been watching the Celtics all year, that didn't come as a surprise. I mean, I had a big bet on the Sixers plus 10 in that game, and in hindsight, I should have sprinkled the money line because the Celtics repeatedly this year, when they played teams with players out, star players out, they've lost in outright fashion. That was the 10th time it happened. And my biggest worry with the Celtics are they just cannot close games. Dating back even to last postseason, their clutch factor in the fourth quarter has been abysmal. And that's why, I thought last year they were hands down the most talented team. Golden State should not have won that championship. But why did they win? Mainly because Steph Curry was the best player on the planet last year, and the Celtics choked. And we saw it again last game. They had a chance to take a commanding 3-1 lead, and they absolutely choked in the fourth quarter. And now the series is tied 2-2. The Sixers, they stole back home court advantage. Or they can steal it back with the win tonight. So now it's a best of three, and I just do not trust the Celtics in crunch time. And there's it's hard to quantify, right? Because if you're looking at the Celtics on paper, they're the better team. There's a reason why they're a 7.5 point favorite in this game, and every time that the Celtics have won in the postseason, they've won by at least 8+ points. So you would absolutely think that the Celtics should win this game. And even if they win this game, I still think the Sixers are live to win this series. Harden, he's been extremely inconsistent, but he carried them last game. Hit that game winner, and he's the kind of player that when he gets confidence, it could be dangerous. And now, the Sixers are playing with house money here. No one expected them for this to even really be a series. Boston minus 2.5 games coming into this series was close to even money, right? So like that was almost the expectation that Boston was going to win this series 4-1, or maybe even a sweep, right? But now here we are going back to Boston. Honestly, the Sixers have all the momentum, and now it's a best of three. So the reason I'm making this video now is because I think there is a very legitimate chance that the Sixers win this game tonight. I think, Embiid had 30 points last game, and, I thought it, and he said it, he didn't play well. He was a complete non factor in that fourth quarter, and it took PJ Tucker going up to him and saying, dude, we need you, for him to even get it together, which again is extremely concerning. The dude was the MVP. He shouldn't have to be given that pep talk, to play well in the fourth quarter. But it is what it is. But, I think at their best, the Sixers are better than the Celtics, especially given the Celtics' issues of closing games. And, Doc Rivers, he actually said it best, even though he misspoke. Hilariously, in the series against the Nets when he said, uh, heading into game four, it's our job as professionals to, come out and win this game. We can't, as he unfortunately said, play with our meat. Obviously, what he meant was, we can't come out and play with our food. And that's exactly what Boston has done repeatedly throughout the playoffs dating back to last season. We saw it against the Hawks. I mean, that series should have been over. And, they coughed up game five at home. And, and then it went back to Atlanta, and that game was close. And, if it goes back to Boston, and anything can happen, as they say, game seven, who knows? So, I think at worst, Philly continues to defend home court. They win game six if they lose this game. And then it goes back to Boston, and then, you know, I'll just let the chips fall where they may. I'll be very comfortable having, essentially, well, it's hard to kind of say what that value would be on that ticket at that point of time, but I'd be very comfortable, and I am very comfortable, with Philly going back to Boston and having a chance to win that game. And if they win tonight, which, like I said, I think they do, they're going to have a very real opportunity to close out in Game Six at home, which is what I think happens. And Boston, like I said, it's hard to quantify. There's just a certain, feeling that you get, a certain intuition that you have when you bet on sports. When you just watch games all the time, when you look at box scores every single day, and you do it every day, every week, every month, every year, for decades on end. You just start to. For me, I just can sort of intuitionally realize patterns. And, I've seen this too many times, teams who get in this sort of a spot and, for lack of a better word, they're fucking around and it ends up biting them. And, I think it's going to happen here. Philly's playing with house money. All the pressure in the world is on Boston. And, I like that dynamic for Philly. That's my recommendation here. If you didn't bet the Lakers yet to win the championship, like I said, there's really no value here in betting them to win the West at plus 150 or betting them to win the title at plus 300 because it's very likely that, throughout the course of the playoffs, they're going to lose at some point. They could certainly lose tomorrow. Those odds would go up. They can certainly lose game one against the Suns. Those odds would go up. So, right now would be the absolute worst time, at their absolute pinnacle, to bet the Lakers. But this is an opportunity. Obviously it's not a bet solely on the Lakers to win the championship. You need the Philadelphia aspect as well. But that's why the odds are 19-1 instead of 3-1. So that's my nugget for today. If you're late to the party, haven't bet the Lakers yet, this is an avenue to still take them, and I think get tremendous value. And I'm not saying bet the house on it. It's 19-1 for a reason. It's probably unlikely to happen. But so was Lakers to win the West at 9-1. So was Lakers to win the championship 24-1. And now those odds are way down. So, if Philly wins tonight and the Lakers win tomorrow, now all of a sudden, this is looking like it's going to probably be in like the 700, 600 range, right? So, when you're betting futures, it's all about timing the market. And it's like crypto, it's like stocks. It's impossible to time it, but you can try to do your best. So I think the best time to bet this prop is right now. So if you believe in the Lakers, like I do, very much so, and you're late to the party, I recommend, throwing some money on this bet. And then, once the Sixers take care of business this round, you're going to have a great ticket in your pocket with a ton of CLV. So that's my bet for today. That's my video for today. Let's go Sixers. Let's go Lakers. And let's make some money.